Hello friends, you've stumbled across a short clip from the Daily Switch 2 podcast, which, believe it or not, is a podcast that is about the Switch 2 with new episodes released daily. What will they think of next?
Next game, Chillin by the Fire. Now we're talking, clearly the game of the show, S tier. I'm kidding, of course, but what can really be said? This is one of those things that barely counts as a game. It's more of an experience, just a simple thing to play about with. And that kind of makes sense, being it's the first video game from Oink Games, a company that usually publishes novelty board games, drinking games, party games, not digital, literal, real-life party games. So what's it about? You sit on a beach, you build a campfire. It's not a survival game or anything like that. There's no bears that try and eat you while you're out collecting wood. There's no permadeath if the fire goes out. It's not even super realistic, ultra beautiful fire and smoke particle graphics simulation as a technical showpiece. This is a purposeful, low poly, simple look. I was initially surprised when it was a Switch 2 exclusive. This could clearly run on a Switch 1. But then they showed blowing on the fire to grow it, which I guess needs the microphone. And then they showed the webcam integration, and it kind of starts to make sense. On the one hand, you could very easily ask why such a simple and seemingly throwaway experience was heavily featured on the Partner Direct when many more substantial indie games were overlooked. And some other games that were arguably more interesting were squished into the sizzle reel and only given like 5 seconds. Unlike something like the Game Awards, I don't believe that people pay for placement in these events. I think Nintendo actually handpicks what to highlight. And there are probably many envious devs out there wondering why something that they feel they could probably easily recreate in just a few days of work deserves the spotlight. There could be a tendency to sneer and say that they activated some kind of cheat code by using the webcam features of the Switch 2 that Nintendo clearly are still trying to justify and hope that more people adopt, especially when currently only around 5% of Switch 2 owners have bought an official one. But my immediate thought was that it's actually probably something a little bit deeper. Without wanting to get heavy or political or anything else, it's definitely true that for many men, we need an excuse to socialize, an excuse to hang out, an excuse to chat. Women can just randomly phone each other for no reason. But for many men, that seems awkward. So they use activities as a reason to meet up socially. Bowling is a classic example, or here in France it's boule or pétanque, as is attending sports games, watching a match, online gaming with voice chat, or even better, barbecuing. Men gathered around the barbecue pretending to care about the fire or how the meat is cooking, but really it's an excuse to talk to each other. Fire does seem to be the most primal of those urges that all men understand, and for anyone that has ever been camping or tried to build a fire on the beach on a random evening with friends, you'll know that men just appear out of nowhere to offer advice. Friendships are forged by fire. And the sheer absurdity of having an online game about fire building with at least the pretense of the physics, placement, types of wood, etc. being important, and with the goofy-looking webcam integration, it's far more likely to appeal to most men than a dedicated chat room where you spend ages crafting your online profile to look as cool and perfect as possible. No, that would look like you've actually spent effort. By doing something that appears low effort and can easily be explained away as ironic humour, and also having the objective-based nature of building the fire and keeping it going so you can claim it's a challenge, I can see how for the right type of friend group this might actually end up being pretty great for mental health. And for that, even though it's $15 when frankly it looks more like the kind of thing that should be a $1.99 mobile game or Steam title, even though realistically most people would put it in an E tier by default, I'm going to give it an honorary S tier. And like a man hiding my emotions, I'm going to do it under the guise of hiding it behind a layer of irony. Yes, I'm putting it in S tier for the lulz, nothing to do with mental health. seriously, this isn't for me. I don't need it. But for the right people, I feel it could be helpful, and it's a nice idea. It was a shadow drop too, so that gives it bonus points. It's out now. And you know what? Believe it or not, out of the 42 games currently out now on Switch 2, only 8 of the 42 are system exclusive, 7 really, because Welcome Tour doesn't count. And only 5 of those games are third party. There's only 5 at $15 or less too. So sure, I'd personally rather put my money into Fast Fusion for the same price, much more replay value, and it's a real game. But bro, if you want to make a fire with your other bros and you can each crack open a beer and chat, even though you can't actually get together IRL, have at it, man. Enjoy. I'm sure this is a really good game. I'm sure you're going to smash it. I bet you know everything about making fires. I bet you could make a much bigger and much better and much manlier fire than my pansy ass ever could. Have at it. I can't place it ahead of my other 2 S-tier titles so far. But I do feel good about it resting here. I'm glad this exists.
Well, that was funny / sad / informative / stupid, wasn't it? Feel free to mentally redact to make that make sense with the clip that you just heard. I don't know what it was. I'm just recording a bumper. But if you enjoyed the clip, please give it a like. If you'd like to hear more, click subscribe, and you can find all the ways to listen to and support the full daily podcast at linktree/dailyswitch2. That's linktr.ee/dailyswitch2. Let's go! Did I sound like I mean that? I do. I really do.